how much, by this point in the year, I'm sure you guys know what you do well as an offense and you want to establish that, but how much does it help if you do have something that can keep the defense guessing, whether it's in their weekly prep getting ready for you guys or on Saturday itself, whether it might be people not knowing what Braxton may or may not do in the offense or a new formation or anything? Does having something new, does that matter, or can you just do sort of what you do best and you're fine?
Yes and no to that question. I think, it always is important to just have a little something to just catch them off guard. Okay. This past week, there's a couple plays where I was tackle over, and that's just something they hadn't seen. And we actually got him in a really bad situation, but we just missed some blocks, or else it would have been out. But at the same time, we believe in what we do, and I think we're good enough at what we do that we can just do our base stuff, and it'll be effective, and we can just dominate based on that. Just because, no offense to the teams we're playing, but I think man for man we've recruited well enough here and developed our players well enough that we're just better.
Have y'all run that tackle over this year at all?
I don't think so.
Yeah, but it's been in the repertoire, or was it just added?
We had it a little bit in camp. We do have it, but it was something like that we specifically planned for this week.
And do you like it? Do you like doing something different like that?
Technically I'm a tight end, so
yeah.
Got a little speed over there. But yeah, it's just something different for the defense. I'll do whatever the coach is asking me, which that's fine.
What does JT? This isn't an analysis of Cardale. Let me say, asking you what does JT bring to the table that seems to make this offense run with a better rhythm? What is it, or more consistency? What is it that you sense out there when you're playing?
I think the big thing is he's a legitimate threat running the ball. He reads the read option very well. He pulls it when he needs to, he gives it when he needs to, and we've seen in the red zone when teams they would just want to take away Zeke. JT scores. He pops. I think against Rutgers he had over 100 rushing yards or something like that, and that's because people want to take away Zeke. So he's a really effective runner as well. And then again, not to take anything away from Cardale, but he has an incredibly high football IQ. So he just understands football, what to check to, and then the offense is just faster.
Yeah.
Coach Meyer said, go ahead.
But like during the game, he's telling you guys things even on the. He's making checks on the field, right? That are helping you guys and stuff. How tough was it last week, knowing he wasn't going to be there after y'all had gotten some things going? Taylor?
I don't want to say it was tough because, we have had a lot of success in the past with Cardale.
Yeah.
There's things that he's really good at. There's things that he struggles at. We just had to take more responsibility as an offensive line to make some of the checks for blitzes and things of that nature, which is fine because we have a lot of smart guys on the offensive line. But just a minor adjustment, really.
With Fournette only going for minimal yardage last week against Alabama, and Boykin having a tough game. I don't know if you got to watch any of that Oklahoma State TCU game, but having a tough game. This would seem to be a moment where Zeke could make a move in the Heisman. I know, you guys don't talk too much about the Heisman, but it is a badge of honor even for an offensive line and stuff. Do you sense that too, that it's a moment in time now for Zeke to step up and you guys to step up?
Yeah, I think he's been incredibly consistent. Obviously, I think it's like 14 100-yard games right now, and that's with people knowing that we're going to run first. So it's not. Zeke's played great. I think he's been a champion or player of the game almost every single game. So for him to still have that type of production, and I think he's close to 7 yards a carry or something like that, with teams making an effort to take him away primarily. I think he's doing a great job, and this time last year, we through the month of September, we just kept improving, and now it's time for us to try to compete for a championship. So I think we'll get back in a rhythm. We have JT back this week, and I just think we'll just keep improving because we got some big games coming up at the end of the year that we really need to perform well in.
Coach Meyer said that it will be JT this week, which probably kind of surprised you. How important is it to know that early in the week and have clarity at that position?
I think, again, it doesn't change my job much because I'm just going to block whatever's called. But I do think it changes what the coaches will call based on, what are their strengths and weaknesses. We'd been kind of getting things rolling with JT. Our offense had been really productive with him, especially at Rutgers and, the week prior, Penn State, when he was getting thrown in there here and there. We were really productive. So I think that's promising for our offense because our defense has been playing great. But we just need to have a complete game, and I think we're getting closer and closer to that, to being, 9 units strong, as Coach Meyer would always say.
And JT handled everything well last week. What stood out to you about the way he handled it?
The biggest thing that, I appreciated of him was, one, that he called me personally to explain everything. And the fact that he wasn't making it about himself, even though it was. He was more worried about us. He was more worried about how is this going to affect the team? How is this going to affect, my teammates, my friends? Because he wasn't worried about him handling it because he's a high-character guy. So I think that was what stood out to me personally.
And his halftime speech, what can you share about that?
Huh?
His halftime speech?
I mean, he basically, he wanted to be on the field with us, obviously, but he was up in the box. And it was basically they were doing exactly what we thought they were going to do. We're just not executing. And, the reasons for that, I do know, but I'm not going to really disclose them because I watched the film. But that was basically what he said, and it was self-inflicted things that were tripping us up. And I just think that was kind of cool. But even though he was out for that game, he was suspended for that game for a mistake that he made, people were going to still listen to him as a leader. He still talked to us before the game, and I think that says a lot about him.
Taylor, we were talking with Billy a few minutes ago, and he was mentioning how you guys take a lot of pride being the number one offensive line in the country, stuff like that. When you see a potential playoff matchup in a team like Alabama shut down the number one running back in the country, yardage-wise, Leonard Fournette, something you take notice of? I mean, you kind of pay attention to what they do against a team of that caliber?
I think that was probably the game that a lot of people had circled to watch this past week. Huge game because they're both highly ranked teams. And you see it all over ESPN, SportsCenter, all the stuff that they shut him down. But I would love to play Alabama again. I would love to play anybody in that top 4 again because I know whoever is picked in that top 4 is going to be a high caliber team, and they're going to be able to stop the run, and they're going to have a complete defense. So, whoever it may be that we play, it'll be fun. It'll be a challenge. But as Billy said, I do think we have the best offensive line in the country.
Taylor, Billy also said that at the beginning of the year, making adjustments, getting plays in was a little chaotic as the coaches were adjusting to their new responsibilities.
Yeah.
How much smoother are things going now?
I think they are going a lot smoother. I think at the beginning of the year, Coach Warner was primarily calling all the plays from the sideline, and that's difficult for him to do. But, he needs to be down on the sideline for the offensive line because he's still coaching us. And it's kind of transitioned to more Coach Beck calling the plays from up in the box. So it's a lot smoother. He can kind of see what's going on. So I think it's just working out the kinks because there was new pieces. Even though there wasn't a ton of new pieces maybe on the field, the coaches changed. And, it is a new season. We did have 8 months or whatever it may be off from when we last played. So that, there are adjustments. There are things that need to be worked out. And, they're getting worked out. And I think we're really, really close.
Taylor, when you are a senior and a captain like you are, you're trying to do your job every day and get ready to win the next game, but how much of your responsibility is getting the next guy ready for when you're gone? Is that like at the front of your mind? Is that in the back of your mind? How much is that maybe a daily or weekly part of your job?
That's 100% a daily thing of mine because I think, me being nominated a captain, that kind of signifies that I know how to handle my own business and I can, get myself ready and I can execute at a high level on the field. And that's going to be huge for the future. And that's going to be huge, God forbid somebody go down. We need somebody to come in there and play at a high level. And, Jamarco's kind of been my guy that I've kind of taken under my wing per se because, I'm gone next year and there can't be a drop-off. There's a level of expectation and there's a culture in that offensive line room that needs to remain consistent regardless of who's playing what position. So that's huge for me. I watch every rep he does. The little thing he messes up, I'm going to tell him. Not to be mean or anything about it, but I want him to be just as good, if not better, than I am. So, that's a huge responsibility not only as a captain of the team, but kind of the older guy in that room.
You told us a few weeks ago that, maybe a couple weeks ago, that Jamarco and Evan Lau were the only guys that were ready to step in as in a depth role when you guys were to go down. Is that still the case? I mean, do you think the other guys have come along over time, or?
I mean, do I think they can? Yes, but you know, Jamarco would be, you know, the number one guy that would probably go in, and we'd have to flip people around. And you know, again, I hope nobody gets injured, but if another guy, it'd probably be Evan Lyle. Now, outside of that, I don't think that a lot of guys are necessarily ready. It's not that they don't have the talent or the ability. They're just not there yet. They just need more development. They need a better understanding of the offense, and they just need to show it in practice. I mean, that's our huge thing. There's no such thing as a gamer. You don't just go in the game and ball out. You're a practicer. You practice good, and then you play good. So once they show it in practice, I mean, I'll have faith in them going in the game. Good.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.